Costa Rica, the rich coast. Nearly 800 miles of beaches border the Central American surfing paradise, with breaks in the Pacific and Caribbean Oceans offering prime landing pads for massive swells year-round. It's a land where time slows down, and you can take a minute to soak in the spectacular landscapes. A land that in some places has just recently broken from the jungle's grasp. It's places like this that spark something inside of us, a primal thirst for adventure. There's two ways to plan a surf trip. You can keep a watchful eye on forecasts and charts, and when the conditions line up, you strike. The second best option is to research the best season for a particular area, book your flights, and pray. I had visited the popular Guanacaste region of Costa Rica on the Pacific side last year, but I knew the winter belonged to the Caribbean coast. So I plotted my itinerary and rolled the dice. My first stop was the tiny town of Puerto Viejo, a 4-hour drive through jungles, mountains, and beautiful coastlines.
Well, all the Costa Rican people knew of it, and around the world it was kind of still an underground wave. You know, it never became famous. It was hard to get to in the past. It was all gravel road. There was no electricity here or nothing.
That's Kurt, a local surfer who's been in the area for over 30 years. He's also the owner of Hotel Puerto Viejo and a shaper of unique balsa wood boards.
My name's Kurt Van Dyke. I was born in Santa Cruz, California. Pretty much grew up in Santa Cruz, you know, most of my life. Did some surfing in San Onofre, where my grandparents lived and stuff, and then in Hawaii, where my uncle Fred lived.
Kurt's uncle Fred Van Dyke was a pioneer big wave surfer in Waimea Bay, and so Kurt began ripping pipeline from a young age.
Yeah, my friend Gar Seagraves have been sending me pictures of Costa Rica for years, just going, hey, this is uncrowded, perfect waves, you should come down and enjoy it, you know. First trip here, we were just surfing unridden barrels all day long, just the two of us for weeks. So I kept coming back year after year after year. We pretty much surfed this break. Maybe 4 or 5 of us surfed this break for 15 years.
Puerto Viejo is a small but vibrant surf town with one main road, so traffic is regularly at a standstill. Gift shops and restaurants line its streets. And the break he's referring to? It's known as Salsa Brava.
When you leave a wave here that is so critical, like this is life or death, you know, it's like when you take off on a wave here, you have to like practically jump off a cliff like an eagle jumping over the cliff, you know. I mean, you got to be going straight down, full momentum, it heaves, waves stop forward motion, sometimes you just jack straight up. You got to get to the bottom.
And when salsa is pumping, no one rides it like Kurt, charging up to 10-foot barrels wave after wave on a longboard. Unfortunately, when I was in town, it couldn't look more tame. Still, I couldn't resist paddling out for some nice little rides. told me of a consistent beach break just down the coast called Cocles, so I headed down to check it out. Cocles is popular with the weekend sunbathers, but there's always local talent gripping the small, fast barrel you can tuck into pretty easily, but can't always make it out. A trip to the Caribbean coast isn't complete without a visit to some of its many national parks, the most famous of which is Cahuita. Here you can experience a slice of Costa Rica's diverse selection of wildlife. There are small animals, big ones, sleepy ones, and hungry ones.
When you go to Limon, look for Tecas. He does boat rides to the island. And the island in Limon is pretty much close to world class on a good day as you can get it. There's an outside slab that you have to really tow into. It's just incredibly tofu looking thing.
Heeding Kurt's advice, I headed north to a rugged port city known as Limon.
Playa Bonita era el lugar, era la meca de Limón y sigue siendo de alguna manera. Lo que sucede es que se ha vuelto un poco más compleja.
That's Manolo, a local surfer and shaper I met in the water that morning.
Mi nombre es Edgar León, me conocen como Manolo y hago tablas de surfing.
Manolo grew up in the area and has been shaping boards since the late 80s. His latest project is a completely biodegradable surfboard.
Éramos un grupo grande de unos 25 surfeadores jóvenes, ¿no? Y más los que ya estaban, los tigres, por ejemplo. Los tigres todo el mundo los conoce.
The main surf break in Limon is a beach called Playa Bonita. On the right is Los Tumbos, a fast and powerful barrel, more suited for bodyboarding, but still surfable. On the far left is the main reef break of Playa Bonita, a slabby Bali-like wave when the conditions are right. Playa Bonita was the hub of a thriving surf scene in the 80s, and surfers would travel from all over to ride the waves. That came to an end in '91, but I'll let Manolo tell the story.
Nosotros tuvimos un terremoto en 1991 y en ese terremoto digamos que el panorama de la ola donde reventaba cambió porque hubo un choque de dos placas que ustedes conocen, se llama la placa del Caribe, la placa del Coco. Y cuando chocaron esas dos placas, una placa se montó sobre la otra y levantó. Desafortunadamente, esa placa en la que se levantó es la que cubre una gran área de Puerto Limón y el área de Playa Bonita. Entonces yo recuerdo, por ejemplo, haber surfeado a los 15 días después de eso y era imposible meterse porque se había subido demasiado el arrecife, no se puede surfear.
While Playa Bonita may not be what it used to be, it's still a gnarly wave, and the locals shred it flawlessly. Manolo told me about a dilapidated neighborhood at the south end of town that boasts a respectable beach break called Cieneguita. There's a new generation of surfers that seem to be paving the way for putting Limon back on the map. Though young, they really can rip, and their potential is undeniable.
Si me pones a escoger, yo me quedo con la isla. El tema es que no habían botes que lo llevaran a uno. Yo recuerdo las peripecias para ir, ¿no? Entonces nos agarramos las tablas, nos tiramos, nos metíamos por el muelle y nos íbamos a los yaxes, y desde los yaxes, lo más cerca posible, ¡paf!, nos tiramos y íbamos nadando.
Fortunately, the days of paddling to Isla Uvita are over. A local surfer from the old days named Tecas now ferries surfers and fishermen to the island for a small fee.
Antes del terremoto eran mucho más grandes las olas. El arrecife era más profundo, entonces el oleaje quebraba inmenso y en los 5 puntos. Después del terremoto nos quedamos solo como con 2 puntos, que es Playa Bonita y la Isla Uvita. Los otros 3 puntos se secaron.
Tano has lived in Limon his whole life and has seen the beaches change over time firsthand.
Mi nombre es Ricardo, me dicen Tano. Es mi nombre, Tano. Yo tengo de surfear por lo menos unos 35 años aproximadamente, haber aprendido a surfear.
Manolo sent me some photos to show how Isla Uvita's remoteness means that even on a good day, you can have some seriously world-class waves almost entirely to yourself. While that day was nowhere near its peak potential, I still managed to get some nice ones under my belt.
Yo pienso que son como ciclos. Cada cierto tiempo aparecen esos nuevos oleajes y son, es decir, ahora, por ejemplo, en un par de semanas, cambia completamente. En un par de semanas vamos a tener un oleaje grande. Un oleaje quizás como el que te enseñé. Yo creo que el 11, la semana del 11 en adelante, vamos a tener un oleaje grande.
As predicted, not even 10 days after I had returned home, the swell of the century hit the East Coast, and the waves at the island were like something that had never been seen before. While my primary goal had been to hit the Caribbean coast, I couldn't resist skipping over to the southwest part of the country to visit some famous breaks I had heard so much about. It would be a 6-hour drive through more mountains and jungles, including a stop to swap out my car for a 4x4 in preparation for the conditions ahead. By nightfall, I had arrived in the small town of Uvita, where a local dive shop had offered to let me join one of their tours.
It's one of the best locations for diving in Costa Rica. And this is because this place is a biological reserve. So it's been protected since 1978.
Costa Rica Dive and Surf takes guests year-round to local dive sites, where the aquatic biodiversity is as abundant as on land.
I'm Willie Vargas, and I'm one of the managers for Costa Rica Dive and Surf. You will get to see a lot of tropical fish, like colors all over with schools of snappers and jacks and parrots coming by, different kinds of puffers, triggerfish, sturgeons, Then you get to see the white-tip sharks coming in and sea turtles around and different kinds of rays.
After meeting at the dive shop, we geared up, loaded the boats into the water, and made the hour-long cruise to Caño Island. Some locals popped up to escort us along the way. While the visibility wasn't its best, there was no denying the beauty to be found below the ocean's surface.
Is like going to the land of it's like going to a children's playhouse. It's like fun, the most fun you can imagine.
Down by the southwest tip of the country lies a legendary point break known as one of the longest lefts in the world. It's called Pavones. You know you're almost there when the paved road ends and you're bouncing along the rugged backcountry.
Esa ola es una enorme cantidad de agua. El fondo del sitio donde revienta Pavones es arena con piedra de río. Y es muy curioso porque esa piedra de río pareciera que sea inamovible. Es casi como una suerte de registro prehistórico de un poco de piedras que salieron ahí y que se quedaron como encastradas. Una izquierda que yo he alcanzado a ver, porque cuando lo surfeé, alcancé a ver a quienes sí podían correr la ola hasta el final, que pueden ser unos 600 metros. Otros dicen que hasta más. Pero 600 metros en una ola te tiemblan las piernas. O sea, es un ride bien largo.
When they say it's a long ride, they're not kidding. With the right swell, rides at Pavones can last up to a mile. Plenty of time to impress the girls standing on the beach.
These big sets come off the point. I ride my longboard there, so it gives me an advantage because it comes in kind of flat. That Pavones comes in more of an almond shape. Pavones don't, if you want to get tubes, don't go to Pavones. Pavones is just a long, racy, fun wall that you can just hot dog the shit out of it if you can catch up with it. It's super fast.
On my last few days, I headed up to a fun little beach break called Dominical, where it breaks pretty consistently even when it's not big. thought of the people I had met while chasing waves around this surfing paradise and the stories they had to tell.
Acá en Costa Rica somos muy diferentes. Acá en Costa Rica tú puedes surfear en cualquier playa. Nosotros somos muy libres en eso y la playa es para todos. Y para quien quiera estar aquí, quiera ser tico en el momento, es bienvenido. Nosotros no peleamos por las playas ni por las olas.
With so many miles of beaches, what breaks are still out there, waiting to be discovered?
They've told me about these misto places. My friend Brad, he's told me about some reefs some sandbars that at high tide, they don't even break, they don't even exist. The tide goes out 15 feet or whatever. When you fly over in the local plains, you can look down and see these rights, huge 15, 20-foot rights going off down there. Nobody there, it's jet ski material only.
O sea, ¿qué nos dejó el terremoto? Esa es la pregunta. Yo creo que eso es algo que sería interesante preguntarse. Yo creo que el terremoto lo que hizo fue diversificar cosas. Yo ya conocía, por ejemplo, la isla. Yo surfé a la isla antes del terremoto. Pero nadie iba a la isla porque era muy largo. Y para ir a la isla había que tirarse nadando porque olvídate. O sea, no habían botes. ¿Quién te iba a llevar a la isla?
I thought of the re-emerging Limón surf scene and the potential talent not just there, but in all of Costa Rica, waiting for their time to shine.
Aquí salieran grandes campeones de surf. Aquí hay muchos jovencitos y vendrán más semillas. Porque aquí hay niños y niñas que quieren estar en el mar. Pero falta material, falta de confianza y que todos tengan un fondo, tengan un ingreso para que puedan sustituir de ello. Porque aquí habemos muchos que queremos para el bien. Hoy estamos, mañana no estamos. Y ahí va la palabra última. La palabra es descansa en paz. Y para descansar en paz hay que hacer las cosas bien, porque el que no hace las cosas bien no lleva paz consigo mismo. Queremos un paraíso para el día de mañana en nuestra vida. Espero que cuando estemos en ese paraíso, después de estemos en las olas perfectas para todos los surfeadores del mundo.